I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Fitchburg Board of Public Works for June 20th, 2022, held at City Hall in the Francis Huntley Cooper Council Chambers. Attending tonight, Alder Wheeler, myself, Member Kim Lobdell, and Michael Granetsky via Zoom. Our first order of business is public appearances for non-agenda items, which I do not believe we have any. Okay. Then we'll move on to 3 Alpha, approval of the June 6, 2022 meeting minutes. Does we have a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Moved by Wheeler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Granetsky. Any questions? Changes, additions, subtractions? All right. Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the June 6th meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, review items. This first one is 4 Alpha, the 2021 annual sanitary and water usages and costs report. Bill, would you like to just give them, is your voice all right to just give us?
I can try.
No, that's all right. I don't want to actually here. We have it in the packet. This is an annual report on here. I would just add our sanitary and water. I'm not sure if you know this answer, Bill, but we do not own our own sewage treatment plant. We know how much water we pump, and we know how much sanitary is going to Madison Met. Is there a ratio that if we get outside of that, I know it's hard to calculate with the summer sprinkling and things, but at what point would you be concerned that we were having infiltration into our sewage system, for instance?
I don't really have a percentage per se. We do monitor it if there's a spike so that, we can try to respond to those.
Okay. Board, questions on this? We continue to, as the city grows, we continue to pump more water, and it varies. It varies with the year. Sometimes if it rains a lot in the summer, we're not using quite as much water. Right now, there's probably the usage is relatively high. Kim, any comments, questions?
No, but I looked at it, I didn't have any questions. I actually thought that it looked like, the report that we were doing a good job, so, yeah.
That's what yeah.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't want to say it's gone up, but I mean, it looks like the actual daily flow is kind of leveled out a little bit. It looks like there was a little bit of period growth. It's great to see that it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit. The one thing that I would kind of note is that it looks like over the span of the last 10 years, that rate has doubled, with a fairly large spike here in 2021. I guess, is that a trend that we're going to expect it to double in the next 10 years?
Excuse me, I'm not 100% sure it would actually double, but it is based upon the expenses that the Metropolitan Sewage District has. So right now they're going through a large capital improvement plan that you're going to be seeing a lot of rate increases over the next few years based on that improvement plan. So like you said, it kind of ebbs and flows. Right now, we're going through a larger capital improvement plan where that rate increase is going to increase quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do we have any input into that, Bill? Do you have a voting member or whatever on anything that they do, or is it pretty much just a pass through to us?
No, they have a review committee that we sit on with them. They have quarterly meetings. They're full disclosure of what they're doing, why they're doing it, and helping us to see if there's any trends that we need to forecast for. So we're aware of these changes that are coming forward, and we're making changes to our rates to accompany it.
Kim, Tom Hovell is our representative on the MMSD board, I believe. If I recall right, but we don't have we don't have much sway. If you look at MMSD, a lot of that, it's 50 years. It's been there about that long, and you know that. That's about when concrete and there's a lot of upgrades that are going on with the physical plant there. Are they all needed? Well, I'm not a civil engineer, and I don't know that part of the business, but just for the people watching, you're going to see rate increases that aren't all due to Dave Herbst. It's those upgrades that are going on out there are driving most of that, and they're tasked with federal and state, and trying to do the best they can, to keep a good environment for us. But it's going to be a fairly hefty yearly increases, moving forward as they work through this capital improvement plan.
And this is not, I don't know that this is a question, more so than a comment. Do we have a sense of whether we're paying for system infrastructure, or are we paying for, updates to, individual houses in the Madison area that might not even be in Fitchburg? Do they kind of do this cost sharing thing? Or is our portion just really Fitchburg facilities and the things that support Fitchburg? Or is it just, this is our part of the overall system? However, most of the work is going into not Fitchburg.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm looking at Mr. Balky.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know that there's an answer offhand, Bill.
Yeah.
I can write you an email on that one.
Okay.
I just don't have the voice to give you the explanation tonight.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Next, any other questions on that? Thank you for supplying the report. I would add one other thing for if anyone watching. They talk quite a bit about the amount of salt that's in the water going to the treatment plant, and it's almost all from water softeners. And he said there's the equivalent of, Jim, I don't know if you remember, it was several dump truck loads a day, or the amount of salt. And so we're hoping that the federal, there's been people at the federal government that want them to put in some sort of desalination plant, which would, I sure hope we don't get there or fight that tooth and nail, because I think people are going to be going back to outhouses if that happens. Because that'll be a lot of money. Yeah. But the thing I'll add, that if you can at your home, you can have an effect on that. Make sure if you have a water softener, make sure it's operating efficiently. And you're not using any more salt than you need to. Okay. All right, we'll move on to next 4 Bravo, review of April P-card purchases and May checks. Does anyone have any questions on these? I do not.
I don't either.
Okay. Michael? Still chewing that lifesaver?
No. Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button there for a second. No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you for supplying those, Bill. I appreciate it. I would just add, the P card purchases gives you a little bit of a window. You say what's going on here, what type of work, and you look at that, and you have a pretty good window into the activities going on. All right. Next, we're on to 5, report from department head. I think we're going to pass on that unless you would like to send us an email with that. I don't want to. You have a job to do during the day too, and I'd rather you get back to that point. So if you'd want to summarize in an email to the board what's in your report, Bill, that would be satisfactory for me here. Board, are you set? The rest of the board, I should ask, are you all right with that? Okay. All right. So now we're into our next is 6 Alpha, the sanitary sewer public hearing at 6. We have a little bit of time here. Would someone like to make a motion to amend the agenda to take up items, the 7 agenda items till 6 o'clock.
I'll move that we change the agenda to take up the other agenda items until the public hearing is
Okay.
at 6.
Moved by Lobdell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. We have changed the agenda. We are moving to the first 7 alpha, Resolution R-120-22, establishing criteria for the granting of special privileges for the use of street rights of ways for terrace gardens. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve just so we can
For
discuss.
discussion? Okay. Moved by Lobdell. Do we have a second for point of discussion?
Second.
Second by Granetsky. Okay. So I think some of you have seen, I received one email, a very well-written email from one of the residents describing many sides of the
Are
issue.
you talking about Troy?
Yes,
Okay, he's on TTC, right? Is he still? Yes.
yeah.
Oh, he's
Not still, sorry.
Oh, okay. He was on
for-
TTZ when
He
I
was
was
for
on.
quite a while, yes.
Yeah.
Basically, the gist of it is, I think you need to consider many, many things. If I read the letter, I'm not in favor of it. I'll just come out and say it. I just feel like I don't want to put any additional burden on city staff. Something is put up there that restricts view, or then someone moves, and then we're trying to get it cleaned up. I think there's just so many more options for.
Does anybody know why this came about?
I do. I'd rather not say it.
Okay, that's fine.
But I just don't feel like it. I feel like it opens up a can of worms. Actually, now, I'm all for people gardening as much as they can, but, I went by a duplex on my street, or just up the street on Williamsburg on my way here. They must have had a dozen pots and things for tomatoes and different plants, very nicely done, right next to their house. And I just don't see a point in it. If someone wants to plant flowers in there, I guess we don't really care. But putting in, blocks and trellises and things like that, I'm really not in favor of that. Any comments from the board? I would just add, I also talked to the building inspection department, and they are pretty lukewarm. They're not. I don't want to go as far as saying they're not in favor of it, but they had reservations.
Well, between parks and city staff, I mean, this just doesn't seem like it's the right time, and that there's still so much work that needs to be done figuring this out. Would have been nice to see Madison's ordinance or see how it's working in Madison, but I can't see going with this right now.
It just seems like it's going to cause a lot more trouble than the benefit that is going to come out of it. And it just seems that there's a lot of other options for people who want to do something. It's not like, we're not in a super high urban area where there is no lawns or, other places. And I realize there may be a couple locations, but there's still got to be some options. And it's just, I think it's just more than what we want to do. I'm concerned with things being in the terrace, even, they talked about the raised beds and everything else. With the climate and stuff that we have here, this may work maybe in more of a southern climate. Once you start getting into snow plowing and anything, even if it's stuff you've taken out, and visibility and obstructions, I don't think it's worth the small amount of benefit that would be gotten out of it.
You can garden from the sidewalk all the way back to your house if
You can, if
care
you
to,
want
if you
to.
care to. I just think with container gardening and things like that. Plus, we're getting more and more community gardens, which I work on quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I feel there's there's better options for people that would want to do that.
I would rather support community gardens or the development of more community gardens for people to use than this.
All right, then we'll call the vote then. All in favor of Resolution R 12022 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Nay?
Nay.
Nay.
Hey,
Nay.
Motion does not pass. Next, Resolution R 13422, approving the collateral assignment of agreement for subdivision improvements in the second plat of Terra Vesa. Do we have a motion to approve?
Yeah, move approval.
Moved by, say have a second? Second, moved by Wheeler, second by Granetsky. Sounds like this is the second edition, is a different bank is financing this, and they want some, basically terms and conditions to be notified if the contractor, or, if the project's going, bills aren't being paid or it's going into default.
They want to know if they should start worrying.
That's exactly right. Who would, Bill, you can nod your head, would the city be the one notifying them of that these things are happening?
Yes.
Okay. So are we putting additional administrative loading on you guys with this agreement?
No, we would just be, it's just part of the process that the bank wants to know. It's just a phone call to them versus, another agency, so.
Okay, thank you. Michael, Jim, any questions on this? All right. Thank you for hammering this out, Bill. All in favor of Resolution R 13422 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next, 7 Charlie, Resolution R 13522, adopting the 2023 through 2032 capital improvement plan. Do we have a motion to approve?
can I make the suggestion that we hold off on this one until after the public hearing?
I agree.
I was
Okay.
going to do the same thing.
All right, we will come back to 7C. Moving on to, thank you, Michael. Moving on to 7 Delta, Resolution R 13022, approving agreement and the assignment of agreement for subdivision improvements in the Payne and Dolan Certified Survey Map, 6145 McKee Road. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Granetsky, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler.
And that's the new material we have.
This is the
right?
new material in
Michael
the
probably doesn't
packet
have.
here. And they've been working on this. I'll read in the now therefore as it agreed as follows, the change in there. I'll just read this. For avoidance of doubt, nothing contained herein shall constitute the assignment or assumptions of a signer's obligations relating to Lot 1 of the plat, including, without limitations, a signer's obligations under the certain agreement for deferred public improvements on Lot 2, CSM 7700, entered into between the city, a signer, notwithstanding anything to the contrary, the obligations retained to Lot 1 of the plat shall remain unchanged and shall remain with the assigner. So am I,
Could you explain that in English, please?
yes, I think they're getting at, there's a potential for public improvements that would have to be made that aren't required at this point.
Correct.
And so they're assigning who would be responsible for those that happened. And would that be Payne and Dolan or General Beverage?
Yes.
Yes?
General Beverage would be responsible for the improvements up front. And that would include the extension of sewer and water to the lot line of Lot 1 or for Payne and Dolan, which they would be making those improvements on the Payne and Dolan lot in the future at the time that they would replat or they would sell to a different use. So there's some conditions in there in the last agenda item for the deferment of that they're referring to. So,
Thank you, Bill.
yeah,
So, the gist of this, General Beverage needs another warehouse. And getting property on the other side of, as the bike trail comes through there on the other side or to the east of there, they're going to be putting in a warehouse. That's kind of the driver for the project, and then, a public street at some point may be needed down to Payne and Dolan's facility.
So is this still on the east side of Verona Road and on the south side of McKee, where General Beverage is now? It's like right adjacent to their existing property, but Payne and Dolan owns, and that's just one lot now. So they're splitting, Payne and Dolan is splitting a part of this off to sell to General Beverage so that they can build another warehouse.
Correct.
And basically what we're saying is that General Beverage would have to do these subdivision improvements when they build this warehouse, when they put improvements on this land?
Correct.
And Payne and Dolan still doesn't have to, because they're not doing anything other than what they're doing now.
Correct.
Thank you, Kim.
Very concise. Sure you didn't write this?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And there were, you may recall, we had previous meetings with this where they talked about the landscaping company there. They're concerned about stormwater. And I believe that has been addressed.
Midwest Stone?
Midwest Stone,
Okay,
yes. Yep. Very good Fitchburg business, yes.
yeah.
Any other questions on this? It's been worked on for several years now here, so.
So the rest of the subdivision improvements agreement is pretty much standard as to what the city usually uses?
Yes.
All right, nothing else, so call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 13022, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. I believe it is 6 o'clock here. I would like to,
5-2 yet, it's 6-2.
oh, my clock on, okay, all right, it's 5:02. My computer says 6, but it's 5:02. Then we'll keep going
Well,
here.
provided that one's right, it's 5-2.
All right, we'll stay with that clock. Next, agenda item 7, Echo, Resolution R 12922, approving change order with Engberg Anderson for the contract for services for the North Fish Hatchery Road Hub Design 1 final design. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, moved by Lobdell, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler. They're asking for a $48,000 change. Originally, we had a contract for $238,000 approximately. Now, the question I'd have is, council, we removed things out of this. We took the ice skating rink and we took the roof off the court. I'm curious why, taking stuff away, I realize there is some, some change, but that seems like, we're a 25% change when we made the scope smaller.
But you also added things, right? The pump track and the,
Pump track was always there, I believe.
that's not the way that I read this.
Yeah, I didn't read it that way either.
I read that was what they were adding.
Okay, well, that I could live with. I thought we've had the track in there since, that's been in since day one, but that I can understand, and you page down.
Something else, too. There was 2 things that they added.
So this resolution is giving approval for Enberg Anderson an additional $48,000 for more design stuff. Is that the
That is
gist of it?
correct, yeah.
Okay, so this isn't approving any of the actual plans. This is just approving the money to go to the consultant.
For them to do the engineering, yeah, develop the architects, develop the plan.
Okay, so my question would be, if there are things that are not, or that are open for discussion yet, or up to this board for approval or rejection, is that part of this whole process and we need to go back and have them sharpen their pencil to figure out what the consulting services would be, or is all that stuff already determined and we're just giving more money for that?
That's a good comment. You know, the design, what's included in it, in the park has been approved by council. So that's fixed, you know. Any other
Okay.
change would have to come before council. So it's strictly, you know, we're talking about the, you know, we have a relatively clear scope now, and it's the engineering fees to engineer that scope.
Okay, so I should withhold my comments about the actual items themselves and just really focus in on the change order
Yeah,
component.
yeah, it's a 4 hours of my life I'll never get back again from council, but
Right.
we think we came up with a, we felt we came up with a win-win for both what we approved. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, I was going to say, you know, they do have the additions of the things. There was a pump track, but now it's an enhanced pump track. And then, you know, there's more details and stuff in here, but I didn't see anything in here about removing a roof or removing an ice skating rink and some money that they would save by that. But it is hourly. It's not a lump sum contract. So I mean, I don't know if that matters one way or the other. And then the other thing is, it looks like they changed their landscape architect as part of this process too. And I mean, I'm not sure from their aspect if they got a better deal going to EOR, or if Ayers wasn't gonna do it, or why they ended up changing their, I mean, if, maybe they were gonna do some structural work with the roof, and when I didn't realize that they had taken the roof off, because I didn't pay that much, and that's why they don't need EOR, I don't believe has structural engineers, and I know Ayers does, but I don't really know all the details of the difference between those.
How time sensitive is this one? Could it wait till next meeting? I'd like Enberg to come in, to be here. You know, that's,
I'll have to
Call
get back
in.
to you on that one, I'm not sure.
okay, I would like to defer to next meeting. I would like them or to attend via Zoom, you know, so I've got them, I can look them in the face, look them in the eye and get a, you know, they can outline it for me.
I'll make a motion to defer then.
A motion to defer, we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, okay. All in favor of deferment until the next Board of Public Works meeting, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We are deferred. Bill, if this becomes time sensitive, let me know. We need a, you know, the 4th is on a Monday. If we needed a Tuesday or something, just let me know and I'll reach out to the board. All right, next. I think we'll go into recess here just for a couple minutes.
I have six on my log.
Yeah, and we'll go into recess for about 3 or 4 minutes to give them, if they're coming here tonight, to give them time. I don't want to rush them through, so we'll, at about 6:05 here, we'll reconvene here. If they're here, then we'll, if they're not, we'll open the assessment and talk. All right, we're going to come back into session, moving back up to agenda item 6A, the public hearing for the Lacey Road sanitary sewer and water main improvements preliminary assessment. We have neither of the residents here, but let's go over, let's go to that. What page is that in our packet here, guys?
Like 10 or 11.
Let's review this here.
10 is the cover page.
Okay. All right, there it is.
Costs are like
Okay.
15.
So this is an assessment for both water main and sewer along Lacey Road. And there are two properties that would be assessed here. And I believe one's an existing home and the other would the other be deferred until development? Am I reading that right? The hard tongues, would that?
That's correct.
Okay. So the home, Darcy Osborne, I think everyone knows where that house is. If you go down onto page, let's see where the map is. Page 18 of the packet, see number 1 is where their house is. And the property in green below, that's the Hartung property, is that correct? All right. So this assessment against Lot 1, question I have, looks like there's other lots along the north side. Is there a reason why those aren't assessed on here? Or are we just, that there's only, it looks like there's more lots than just that number 1.
Yeah, excuse me, the lots on the north side already have sanitary sewer that are closer to the railroad. The Limerick property to the west, or I'm sorry, to the east of Lot 1, they are getting their sanitary sewer. They have their sanitary sewer off the back already.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you. So just for listening to this preliminary assessment, we're looking at that one property, 10,000, let me get back to my page here,
664.
664 for the Osborne property. Sanitary,
It's page 15.
yeah, I'm looking there, and it looks like, doesn't it show 10,664, or am I looking at the wrong thing?
That's the sanitary.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Total deferral amount is 20,000.
So Osborne,
The water main,
okay,
well, that's Hartung's only. So Osborne's look like they're only getting sewer.
Correct.
okay. Sanitary sewer, so it's just a little under $6,000, and this would be typically over 5 years we would give them, Bill?
7 years.
7 years, okay, all right. Over 7 years. Does the board have any questions on this preliminary assessment? This was their chance to come in and ask questions. I suspect they'll be in here at some point, or,
Looks like they looked at the two different methods, and then they took the lower of the two. So, I mean, that should make them happy,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
or happier, or less disgruntled. I'm not sure where
Yeah.
they stand on the whole thing.
It's hard to say,
Yeah.
if they've just put in a mound system 2 years ago, then but they have a failing septic, then I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know their current situation. Any other questions on that? All right. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on the preliminary, page down here, preliminary assessment, and move back to agenda item. We're going to save the CIP for last, if that's all right with the board. Okay. Then I believe we're down to
Don't we have to vote on this one?
the resolution. Where is the resolution?
10922 preliminary assessment.
Is that later?
Is it A? I don't have the agenda here. Maybe we don't. I'm just going through the.
Thought it was in there, but it's not.
We approved the preliminary assessment at a previous meeting.
Okay, thank you.
We're at the resolution.
That's why it's in, yeah, it's in there, okay. So
Oh,
we
yeah,
have no,
it's already
we have no vote
signed.
on this. Yeah,
That's already signed.
yep. Thank you, Bill. Then, again, we're gonna save the CIP for last. That would take us to, agenda item 7, Foxtrot, Resolution R 12122, accepting 2021 compliance maintenance annual report for the wastewater collection system, City of Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move the
Moved by Wheeler, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Granetsky, okay. Again, I would just add this report, looked like we see very good passing marks on this. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate the efforts. I know many cities, they come in something like this, and there's a lot of wailing and grinding of teeth because things aren't right, and it's going to cost them a lot. And so I appreciate us staying on top of this and following the plan. We have a plan where it appears to me, we're working that plan and executing it. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah. So one of the things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis is just because, we are best in class and we are doing these things, it normally is the right thing to do and we go about it the wrong way. So this is not questioning that. But Bill, this may be another topic of conversation for another time. Are we doing too much of anything? For example, is there some area where we're spending just a ton of money, and maybe that's getting us an A mark, and a B mark would be quite sufficient, and the cost reductions in something like that would be sizable, I guess, or measurable for the public. I don't know how to. You never want to say give up something if we're doing it really, really well. But at the same time, if we're doing something and it's costing us a lot of money and we're doing it really, really well, doing it really well and spending a little less money or spending a lot less money, either way, you would want to look at it. Is that something that goes into this process, or is that just decisions that staff make on a as needed basis?
No, we have a compliance report that we file with the DNR, and we also have an operating procedure manual, pretty much how we operate. And we use that to with the DNR's approval, to do the minimum, not the minimum standards, but there's a set of minimum things that we have to do for inspection, for maintenance, so that we don't have sewer backups, that we're doing. We have got a good financial system in place to support those issues. So we do have a really good system in place. We're not excessive in what we're doing by any means, but we do have a good system that's working for us well to keep our backflows or our backups to a minimum, the number of claims to a minimum, and service providing to the community. So that's our goal with this. We're not by any means doing anything excessive, but we're using the guidelines the DNR set forward for maintaining a good system.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Good answer. Thank you. Do we find, the televising every 5 years, point to something we found with that? I'm not saying I don't want it done, but what do you find a crack, or do you find, a place where you see infiltration? I'm kind of ignorant.
Sure. In our older sewers, things can change in 5-year period. So what we're finding is some areas where there are cracked pipes allowing infiltration, especially where the laterals come in. So we're looking for those. There might be some sewers that laterals that aren't capped correctly, and that just allows groundwater to come flowing in. So while the caps, are great when they're installed, over a period of time, sometimes they get loose, and we do catch those when we go through. So that's one of the big things that we do with the infiltration is assessing for infiltration.
Do you? I should know this, and excuse my ignorance. Do we contract out for that televising, or do we have someone you just use? That you have under contract?
Yeah, we go for bids annually, and there's a few contractors that give us some really good prices because we allow them to come in as they have time allowed. So anytime you put a time restraint on a contractor, the prices would go up. But we have used pretty much the same contractor for the past 5 years, given that they can come in and give us good prices and give us good reports.
Okay. Do we get a recording?
Yep.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. All right. Thank you. Sorry to make you talk so much. Any other questions on that? All right. Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 121-22, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, 7, Golf, Resolution R 128-22, approving an agreement with R.A. Smith for construction-related services for the second addition to Terravesa, Highfield Reserve, Lacey Ridge Townhomes, and Ocella Drive Extension. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, moved by Lobdell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Granetsky. This, we will be contracting out, services that the city would normally do due to employee requesting leave. And, the main resource is the former city engineer who, we held in relatively high regard, Corey Horton. So it's kind of, I don't see much way around this. We don't have the people. We have a viable option for doing this. So, I trust Corey to give us good value and do what needs to be done. Anything else to add, Bill?
No, thank you.
Okay. Kim?
Nope, good to me.
How many times have we done this, outsourced this type of work in the last few years or whatever?
Typically, we have 1 or 2 contracts a year, depending on how much development we have.
We've used Corey twice, I know, since he's left. All right. More questions? Then we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 128-22 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Resolution 7 Hotel, Resolution R 110-22, approving a surcharge document for 2 2024 snowplow chassis. We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Granetsky. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Wheeler. We deferred this last time. And Bill, our main question, I guess, my main one, I don't want to speak for the entire board, but there were 4 prices listed, for the surcharge. We weren't sure which one we were getting, was one question. And then the second, my sense is if we agree to this, we're going to pay it.
Yeah, we didn't really know for sure. What were we just saying? We're recognizing the fact that there may be a surcharge, or are we saying there definitely is going to be a surcharge? And then are we limited to these dollar amounts, or we're just saying we know there's going to be one. This might be what it is, but we don't know what it is. Are we like writing a blank check, or what exactly does this mean? The way it's worded, it says we're acknowledging the fact that they're telling us there may be a surcharge, but we don't know what the surcharge is going to be and if there really will be one and how much it'll be.
Yes.
All of the above, huh?
Yes. Essentially, what we're doing is asking the city to acknowledge that there's going to be a potential surcharge for the order of this vehicle. We do not have to accept the vehicle once we get the final prices. But what they're asking us to do is to sign this so that we stay in line as a customer. Otherwise, they could take our slot, give it to somebody else for the trucks. So if we say, we're not going to acknowledge this, we're going to just pay you the price, there potentially could be other customers out there that would want to buy into that and get those trucks. So we do have that option once we get the final prices to say, no, we're not going to pay this. This is too much, or to come up with the funds to pay for it finally. They're just asking us to acknowledge that, prices probably won't stay the same over the next 2 years, and that there could be increases. And I wasn't in on the specifics of what you were saying regarding which truck it is, or which surcharge level it is. And I wasn't able to make contact with Mark, who did the ordering, who had those conversations. But It is going to be one of those. I would assume that's the largest one, if any, a heavy-duty truck.
Yep.
That would meet that qualification.
So this will come back to us at some point in 2 years when they actually have a firm price for this, and then the city can decide if they need it, or, I mean, obviously you need it or you wouldn't have ordered it, but if you would want to, if you will agree to pay the amount that the price is then.
That's correct.
I would add, it's delayed till 2024. We wanted it in 2023. So hopefully we don't get an early winter, a lot of snow. Okay. Any other questions on this? Then I'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R-11022 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, Resolution R-11322, authorizing the purchase of R12J TSC5 GPS system. This was postponed from last time. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Lobdell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler. So, Bill, our only question from the last time, we understood the price and what you're doing. The additional funds, there were 4 different cost centers, that you were taking the money out. Will there be savings in those cost centers by the use of this, or we're just saying, all right, we're going to use some of that money, we won't have, we just won't spend as much in those 4 different cost centers you
Correct.
assigned?
It would be the latter. We have funds available due to either staff not being hired or the project. We have funds that we're not going to be expending for those different projects, like the Verona Road project, that we can use for a one-time purchase. They can transfer across between operating and maintenance as long as it's a one-time purchase and not an ongoing operational expense.
Okay. Thank you. Questions for Bill on that? That was my main question.
Yeah, it's not really related to those. Those were just areas you had extra money.
Right.
Or unused money, maybe not
Okay.
extra.
All right. And the questions, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R-11322 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, 7, Julia, Resolution R-11022, approving a state municipal agreement to fund the South Saline and McCoy Road intersection improvements. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Moved by Wheeler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Gurnett.
And I'm going to recuse
Yep,
myself.
Yep, Kim will recuse herself on this. So if you look in the packet, you see that, this corner intersection, straight road, it's being reconfigured. We've had a safety, there's been some accidents there. I'm not sure exactly how many, but we requested a grant for this work, and the grant is covering 90% of the cost for the safety improvements. The additional 10%, would be paid by the city. Where's our funding for that 10%? Was that in the overall project, or is that in, okay. All right. So is this going to be a signalized intersection?
Yes.
Okay. So those of you who have ridden your bike across there, it's mostly the traffic that's on your bike when you're crossing. You forget about that traffic from the left. And I think there's been maybe a few close calls with the bicycles there. I'm not sure how many,
One fatality.
there was a fatality there. Okay, I am not,
This does reroute the path to bring it to the intersection.
okay, all right. When did that occur, Jim? Do you recall?
It was a few years back, actually. It was a person I worked with.
Oh,
She was the Madison Police Department.
I recall now. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. Any questions on this? There, Chad brought it up. You see the McCoy Road, instead of a sweeping corner on the Saline, we're coming more into a T, and the bike path is crossing right at the intersection now instead of, I don't know if it was 50 or 30 feet, to the north of the intersection.
What is the plan for the current pavement that's in the kind of arc? Is there anything going on with the land there? Is that just going to go vacant? Are we going to have to kind of reconstruct that into being maintainable, I guess is the word?
If my guess serves me, I think it's going to be used for stormwater purposes for that for that region.
Okay. Okay. I mean,
That works. It works for me.
that works.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 122 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Kim abstaining. Thank you. I'm sorry, Kim. Attention to detail here. Next, Resolution 7K R 10222, amending the County Highway MM and Lacey Road traffic signal budget. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Gronetsky. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler. All right, you're going to recuse yourself on this one. So, I'm sorry, Bill, make you talk, but what's the driver here?
When we calculated the final cost for the entire project, the developer had contributed more money than was previously, no, they had contributed less than was previously anticipated for the improvements that were in that area. So we ended up, when we did the reconciliation, it ended up splitting up or adding some more costs to the city portion of the agreement that we had between the county, the city, and the developer.
Oh, it's coming back to me. Approximately how much more are we on the hook for?
$16,000.
16,000. And where will that money come? Where are we taking that money from?
We have contingency money funding from the McKee Road Phase 2 project.
Okay,
That was done a couple of years ago.
all right. Sounds good. Any questions on this? I recall we had a pretty lengthy discussion when describing this the first time. All right, seeing none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 10222 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next. And Kim abstaining, I'm sorry, for the record, I'm sorry. 7 Indigo, Resolution R 13922, approving purchase of 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning utility truck. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Moved by Wheeler, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Lobdell. I'm gonna ask the question. It's not like we couldn't get the regular Silverado we wanted. But in the next one, we're buying another Chevy truck. So is this, we wanted to try an electric? Is it really, it's all we can get now? It's a little unclear to me, if we're buying one electric and then one regular.
Two electrics.
Those are both electric?
No, there's two electrics and a Silverado.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Two electrics.
Utility, yeah, and two
I'm sorry.
electrics and a Silverado.
And the Silverado, yes, okay. So the question, I guess my question is the same, are we getting electric vehicles to try them? It seemed, the resolution made it sound like we couldn't get the regular gasoline powered or diesel powered truck.
No, well, I'm not sure if we can actually get those any sooner than the electric trucks, but we would like to transition, vehicles that we have for internal fleet to use electric vehicles. So the two trucks that we have slated for replacement would be one for the utility and another one for our workforce that we we were going to use for electric. The remaining one, the 141 resolution there, that one, we just don't have the budget to afford 3 electric trucks at this time.
What's the intended use? Okay, because I just gonna throw it out there. You know, you're not gonna be pushing a plow with this in the winter. You know, I'm mostly concerned about, you know, operations above all things, you know, that you know, we're able to operate in conditions that we live in. And, you know, after the blizzard is probably, you know, one of the most challenging ones. And you know, these trucks aren't able to help us get done the work we're supposed to do. I guess I'm not sure what you're gonna use them for. If they're mostly, you know, taking people here to there, you know, can you give me a little update on that?
Yeah, it's mainly for transportation within the city. It's not for hauling or doing any, you know, heavy duty type work. The utility truck is one we use for inspection around the city. So we're doing you know, inspection work and mainly in the summertime, in the spring. So it's a fair weather vehicle that we're using that one for, and the same for the other one.
So has someone, have we calculated an offset, you know, like Phil Groupie, has he calculated an offset of, you know, kilowatt hours we're going to use versus, you know, the $5 a gallon gasoline? Has any calculation like that been done to help me justify the higher cost, I guess?
I will get that information.
You get that back. Phil probably knows that off the top of his head. It won't surprise me. All right. Any questions from the board? I'll be, you know, Jim and I heard from the police chief the other day, you know, he has some reservations about some of the vehicles, but, you know, obviously police is a different application for what they're doing versus these, but, you know, I want to make sure they meet our purposes and aren't, you know, impeding us to you know, say we're green. Any other questions?
Just a general comment. I'm gonna just go ahead and make the comment too. If this is just for kind of transportation of stuff and won't actually be used in the line of duty, is a pickup the best option for this? Are there lower cost, more SUV type things that would be at a lower cost? I'll assume that Public Works knows what's best for them. It would be good in the you know, kind of grander scheme of things as we move over to more electric vehicles, that there is, you know, kind of that consistency. So if we're going to be moving from Chevy over to Ford, let's get that consistency built in there so we're dealing with the same equipment at the same time for our mechanics. At the same time, if there's something that is just going to be moving bodies and you're going to be able to fit 4 people in a car, do we need to spend almost $50,000 on that? And maybe get you know, whatever benefit of that, plus a, you know, area in the back to store some equipment? Or is it going to be something where, you know, we could spend a little bit less, you know, get everybody in the same cab and, you know, kind of get them around from place to place, and, you know, just kind of have 2 or 3 different models to choose from based upon the scope of whatever it is we're doing, whether it's transferring people, transferring equipment, or just, you know, getting from place A to place B with a single or a, you know, a single driver and a passenger or something like that.
I can add that information to the packet.
Yeah, that was my concern too. You know, we got a good price on the, I don't know if it was a Escape Hybrid, you know, that we bought. You know, I share the same with Michael. I'm not here to tell you guys what you need for doing your job. You know, you're the ones that know that, but I want to make sure you've evaluated, you know, if it's one person driving it around most of the time, there might be another option. Everyone loves a pickup truck, and I have one. Majority of the time, I don't need it. All my neighbors need it, but,
Plus, I remember a few meetings back when you promised to start picking up bush for the people that can't take care of it themselves.
I did that one time. She never called me back, though.
I'll call you sometime then.
All right. Any other discussion on this? I just want to make sure, I'm not into getting an electric car just so we can say we're green, I'm fully about the operational capability, what's best, and the truck that we're getting rid of was a 2008. So we got, we got 14 years out of that.
That's the Silverado one that they're gonna keep. I'm looking at, it's confusing, because there's 3 right in a row. One of them is for the utilities, and that's an electric one. And then the other one is for streets, and that one's replacing a 2002 pickup truck. And then the third one is the Silverado that's replacing the 2008, but it's not even gonna replace it, because they're gonna keep it.
Okay. I'll just go out there right now, you're not gonna get, the battery in these vehicles is not going to give you the same lifetime.
No, but are you
got out of these.
gonna wait to get answers from Bill before you vote on these? Is that what you're thinking? To make sure that's where we wanna go?
I would like to hear back, if other vehicles were considered. Bill, can you shake your head and tell me that this is the vehicle I need?
We were hoping that we could at least get our name on the order form, because the last time that electric vehicles were made available on the state bid, that bid closed the same day, and all the orders were filled. So I can get you the information before council, but we would like to try to at least get our name on the order form.
All right, understood. I can live with that. I don't know about the rest of the board, but, all right, any other discussion? Then we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 139-22, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next, resolution R 140-22, approving purchase of 2022 Ford electric truck. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Okay. Moved by Lobdell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Wheeler.
So this one's for streets.
Streets,
The first
so-
one is utilities, this one is for the streets department.
Same truck, just different departments. Is that correct, Bill? Okay. Any other questions on this? See none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R 140-22, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next, resolution R 141-22, approving purchase of 2022 Chevrolet work truck. Do we have a motion to approve? Or is this,
I move approval.
okay, we have a second.
I'll second it.
Second for discussion. So are we getting a new truck or are we keeping one? And we're a little,
It says you're keeping it.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this one.
you're gonna keep the old one and we're getting a new one.
Yes.
Okay,
So this one is just a two-wheel drive. And this one is not any kind of an extended cab, the way I read it.
Right.
What
What's
was
our-
the main purpose of this one?
it's,
Public Works Streets. Oh, no, that's the other one. This one is for, Public Works Streets again, yeah.
got enough left in the voice to give us an update, what your use for this one is?
I'm sorry, I don't have that one.
Okay. This is not an electric, right? So,
This is the one, though, that they've only given them a week. They put $1,000 down on somebody's
Okay.
P-card, and they're only holding it for a week
Okay.
because somebody else wants it. So this one, I think we have to decide on.
Go ahead, okay. All right.
before. The other two are the July 18th order date with the state bid contract. But this one is at the dealership at what, Simden? Yeah, Simden in Evansville. And somebody put $1,000 down using their P card, but they could get it back if we decide not to do it. But they want to know right away. Obviously, because there's somebody else probably that they wants to buy it.
Yeah. Was this a need, I guess? Are you looking at me and saying this is something you need for your department to execute their work?
All right. So my general question is, if we're getting 2 new electric trucks, and this one is an absolute need because the one we currently have is dead or darn near close, are there
Nope.
options to keep a previous truck and replace this one? This is where I get a little bit squirrely because it looks like we're kind of going in the direction of the electric, and which is fine. And then we're kind of not going in the direction of electric with this third one. So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding where those inconsistencies are and how I can kind of help justify that.
Yeah, I'll have to get more information on that one. I'm sorry.
Okay. And that's kind of where I would draw the line myself. Is I'm cool with the 2 electric trucks. If we're just doing this because there's one out there that's a good deal on something and it doesn't fit in with anything, I'm not cool with rushing it through because somebody put down $1,000 and we can kind of get at it. I'd much rather do the due diligence and have that information up front before I.
Plus, we're keeping the old one, the 2008, so.
So if it's an absolute need, we're keeping the 2008 as an absolute need. That would be my other question.
Was this vehicle in our vehicle replacement schedule or CIP anywhere?
It is.
Yeah, it said they budgeted funds in 2021 to replace it.
My only concern, I got a couple of concerns, and, I'll prove this, but the one seems like the expansion of the fleet, because when you have a fleet that expands, that increases the cost. And I don't know if Fitchburg has a policy on that we will have a set number of vehicles for each section, and then to increase that fleet takes like the council pretty much saying, hey, we're going to increase the fleet. The other thing, and this is part of that whole electric vehicle thing, is that I think you got to start thinking about the infrastructure to support electric vehicles too. And that was something that the police chief brought up during his CIP presentation. So while we're moving into this direction, I think we also got to look at the infrastructure, charging stations and everything else. So like I said, I'm going to approve this, but I just wanted to put that out there, that it just can't be, well, we're just going to buy electric vehicles and not think about the infrastructure that's needed to support this.
Yeah, you can't run a long extension cord out there from, it doesn't, well, you could, but it doesn't work that well.
I'm not sure what to do with this one, because this one's not an electric vehicle, and it's one that's on the lot somewhere, and they want to know, but if we are keeping the existing one, I'm sort of with Michael, it's like, do you really need it? And if we're spending extra money on buying the 2 electric ones and trying to go that way, why would we buy a non-electric one when we're keeping the other one? And I can see a little bit of you're hedging your bets a little, because they have been so hard to get, and all of a sudden the old one dies, and then you can find nothing, and here you passed one by that you had, but is that a good enough reason to do it?
Well, I would raise this issue, Kim. I share that same concern. There's no guarantee we're getting in on that state, the state bid, for the.
Well, that's true, on the
for
electric
the
ones, if the
electric-
other one's
for the-
closed in one day,
for the
you
electric
may not
ones.
get it. But this isn't gonna service most of that because it's not an extended cab and it's only a two-wheel drive. For the inspection, those guys go off-road a lot, they're gonna need four-wheel drive. Oh, if you listen to my guys, you do.
Yeah, you're doing different. Yeah, I don't know. I think they get, you know, I think you probably could get by with a two-wheel drive for, you know, that type of work. Like I say, I'm, certain Bill's he's not gonna get any electric vehicles. You know, I don't know where. Do you have a sense, Bill? You know, you got the name in there that we have, you know, that we're in there early, we got a good chance of it. You know, I you know, if at a decent, you know, at a high degree of confidence, all right, we're gonna get those, then I might be willing to let this one slide, but, none of those come in, and I let this one slide.
Yeah,
Then-
right,
then,
then you're screwed.
I don't know if we're screwed, but we're,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, well, not in as good of a position, let's just.
yeah, is my concern, but, all right, let's call the vote. Okay, all in favor of resolution R 14122 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Opposed.
Did you vote?
I didn't vote, I'm still thinking.
Okay, take your time.
Yeah, but okay, so what do we have now? One aye and two nays?
Yeah,
What happens if I vote aye? Then we're tied,
we're tied, and it doesn't pass.
and it goes to somewhere else?
It still needs to go to council,
Still
yes.
needs to go council. It would just be, you know.
I'll vote aye.
Okay, so, 2-2, we're
We're passing the
dead,
buck.
we have a dead heat, so
We're passing the buck here.
going to council. All right, thank you. There's-
I'll get more information
Yes.
for finance and the council for a decision.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, next, resolution, 7, Oscar, R 12622, authorizing acceptance of 2022 South Sain Road reconstruction bid. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'm abstaining.
Yep,
I
understood.
move approve.
Moved by Wheeler, and assuming
Second.
second by Granetsky. Okay. All right, let's tackle this, one. The South Sain Road reconstruction. This is from, just for people watching, what are the approximate boundaries here again, Bill?
I would go from Aurora, south of Lacey, up to the I forget what the name of that park is up there, Nanny Berry Park, just north of East Sherrill Parkway.
Okay, all right. And, let me just page down. What page are we on here? I gotta,
210-ish.
okay,
The bids are on 213.
that's what I wanted to go to.
213 is the bids.
All right. Bear with me here. Dealing with a cursor impaired person here. A little bigger. So the question, again, where do we come in versus engineer's estimate? By what percentage?
It's by about $600,000 on a $5.5 million job.
What, Bill, what
10%.
What percentage contingency did we have on, do we typically put a 10% contingency?
Typically 10%.
So if we approve this would, our contingency would be gone on the project. What do you feel is the main driver? Just increased cost for construction?
Yes, I would say it's I mean, we were lower in some areas of material prices, higher in others. It's just the timing of the work and just material costs and acquisition is a driving force of the higher costs.
Scary part is the next bid was 2 million over that.
So I know you're abstaining on this, but are you seeing this on other projects that your company is engineering in other
We are.
places? It doesn't make me feel any better.
I'm actually sort of surprised that it's only 10% over the engineer's estimate.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's in the pipeline. I don't believe I can stop it, but, what Mr. Wheeler and I would probably agree on is that, all right, we bite this one off, but something else is gonna have to give, somewhere in the, that we, that the other alders have to understand, doing these infrastructure, it's not, can't, the wish list, we can't, fund everything on the wish list when we're over. So this is for, when what is estimated construction start on this?
We're looking, excuse me, we're looking at late August, early September.
Okay. All right. Questions from the board? I don't like it, but I don't think there's anything I'm not, this one I would like to get done.
So Dave, could you remind me, so the 5,257,226, that was in the CIP? Do you remember? Or Bill, can you tell me?
It was an amount that was similar to that.
In the CIP?
Yes.
Okay. So you're right, so we're raising this about 600,000, so we're gonna have to find a cut of 600,000 somewhere in the CIP.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I wish there's something I could do about it, but I think it's just what we're dealing with right now. We have to, find some other cuts. All right, Michael, anything?
No.
No, you don't have any pixie dust that can make the bid lower. Okay.
No, the things that I generally look for when I kind of see these things are going through the line items and seeing if there's anything that, was part of the bid response that didn't seem like it should be a priority. I didn't see that in this one. I do try to call those out as other things are here, but, there's nothing that it appears to me would be anything more than just a basic.
Okay.
So.
Sounds good. Thank you. We'll call the vote. All in favor of resolution R-12622, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Kim abstains. The motion carries. Next, 7P, resolution R-14222, authorizing revised agreement for deferred public improvements on Lot 2, certified survey map 7700. You have a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Lobdell. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Let me just page down this one.
So this is the one I was confused on as to whether or not the deferred public improvements should have been on Lot 1 and not Lot 2, so. Because Lot,
Currently, the CSM is Lot 2
okay, so
for
the
the
whole
large.
thing is Lot 2?
The whole thing is Lot
Okay.
2. And then with the new subdivision improvement agreement and the general beverage agreement, that large lot becomes Lot 1, and general beverage is going to be Lot 2 as part of the new CSM. So in the new CSM, it's referred to as Lot 1 and 2, and the deferred is, we're deferring it on the entire parcel, but it's specifically to Lot 1 of the new
Okay,
CSM.
Thank you, Bill. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
Any questions on this? See none, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R 14222 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the motion carries. Next, we're going to come back up to 7 Delta here, if I can page back up. Or 7 Charlie. 7 Charlie, okay. So next, I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution R 13522, adopting the 2023 through 2032 capital improvement plan. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Granetsky. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Wheeler, okay. So this is the 10-year, again, the 10-year plan laid out by Bill's department. You know, the first 5 years, you know, are a little more concrete, that you're, you know, if they're within the next year, you know, these things are happening. And as you get out to the later, you know, they could be a little more nebulous on here. But as long as, I'm sorry, I'm going to read, we kind of read through this just so people are aware what we're approving. So first item, we have a B&G fleet vehicle replacement. This would be.
Sorry, Dave.
Yes, Michael.
Is there a way to pop this up on the screen? Well, I do love your voice. I'd also
There's
like
a
to
link
just
in the packet.
Yeah.
Was there? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm missing that. No, I got it. Thank you.
All right, so this is the one, so we have a Ford, 2006 Ford 1F50 we're looking to replace next year. The Old-Call audiovisual.
Are you just looking at the Public Works Department's
Yes.
items? Okay.
Yeah. Hang on, no, I just, yeah, that's what I want to do here. But that's all, this body, normally in the past, all we've done is approve the capital works, the public works portion of the capital improvement.
Right.
Is what we've done in the past. And,
So by department, that starts on page 29 of that link.
okay,
Do we also want to go over the utility, or does that not fall under the jurisdiction of this board?
that should fall under this board.
So starting on page 20 then.
Our department oversees the public works facilities as well, or the citywide facilities. That's why you're seeing the buildings and grounds.
Yeah, that's right.
And we also see, you know, some of the things in IT with the GIS or the GPS. So there's a few items dispersed
This-
throughout
this
the whole.
packet is Public Works.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's why some of these they seem a little outside, but Public Works is in charge of all our buildings. So just a quick read, you know, 1720, Old-Call audiovisual, upgrade AV controls, additional early warning sirens for 2025. I'm just going to give a quick summary in the year, okay, project. Parking lot resurfacing, that's continuing. City campus, replace our building HVAC systems, it's continuing. Maintenance facility, building spaces, annual replacement fund, okay, this is continues. City Hall remodeling, this is a new project. Bathrooms, carpet, furniture, GPS system revised. The engineering division uses this equipment to survey design. Is this what we were approving today?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Public Works equipment replace. Project originally included equipment for utilities, parks, and streets. The project was revised to split the equipment into those specific divisions. Okay, so it's reallocation. Fleet maintenance, again, not sure why does that fall in the capital improvement maintenance activity like that?
We're purchasing vehicles over $25,000 or $10,000.
Thank you. They've put in money to purchase a transit shuttle that would be used by the senior center. We are looking to use some of the ARPA funding for that. Parks equipment, they're updating, revising some parks equipment, replacement, reallocations, recycling center drop-off improvements. So this one, including fencing, video surveillance, which we've done already, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Pavement replacement, all right. Sign interceptor extension. The project is necessary to allow development of the Hartung property as well as the development of Southwest Sign Road. This is in there. Would this be billed back to the development? Signing.
It's under the proposal, it could be TID eligible, but in this one, it would be assessed back to the property owners.
Okay. We have our stormwater pond dredging and retrofits, continuing program. We've been planning uptown, a wet pond for the stormwater up there for a couple of years now. Traceway Drive, storm sewer reroute. So we reroute some of the stormwater drainage from Nine Spring golf courses to filter out pollution prior to entering the creek. Fitchburg Road, stormwater improvements. This would be culvert under Fitchburg Road where we flood. Drainage and flooding improvements. We had a public hearing, Curry Court flooding. They kind of abbreviated that plan, scaled back. We would do it in 2023. The Lake Barney, design of the solution for Lake Barney. Uptown, Schuman Drive storm sewer, upsize Schuman Drive storm water sewer. We approved the engineering for that already, didn't we, that project? No? No. All right. Lacey Seminole Highway Regional Stormwater Revised. This is the drainage basin by Sub-Zero. That's kind of a kettle. Flooding north of Dunn's Marsh. This will assist with flooding. Crescent Road, Red Arrow Trail, that'll flood at intersections. Storm sewer, Furman Drive and Lyman Road. Nine Springs Creek restoration on the golf course. Seminole Glen stormwater study. I'm not even considering taking that one out. I can't take that much. I won't be able to take that much hate mail. All right. Stormwater equipment replacement. Would this be mostly our sweeper bill?
Correct. Sweeper and pickup trucks.
Sweeper and pickup trucks, okay. Highway equipment replacement, all right. Plow and fleet replacement, our normal cycle. Street resurfacing program. Herman Road realignment extension, that's with the, is that a joint project with the city of Madison? Is that Herman Road? Is that?
It would be a connection from the uptown area to McCoy Road
Okay.
and the realignment of Herman in that area.
This is out 2028, 2030. Sain Road, McCoy Road, north to city limits. This is a project from, this would be later in the decade here again. I would just add changed non-grant funding to borrowing. South Saline Road, McCoy to Lacey. Kind of what we were talking about here tonight, isn't it?
That's phase 2 of the project, where we go from East Sherrill up through McCoy.
It's giving me heartburn on one of the estimates, okay. Traffic calming, I would add, this is a little, I had residents, I proposed six different locations for traffic calming, mostly in District 1. Update street lighting to LED, sidewalk path and maintenance improvements. Fitch-Rona Road, Lacey to Nesbit. Reconstruction of that to include curb gutter, stormwater, bike lanes. A grant's been applied for. Lacey Seminole intersection, Lacey and Seminole, Lacey Seminole intersection, Lacey East Seminole.
North.
This one is 2026. Just looking at a bike trail on the west side. Does that sound right?
Yes, we reduced the project scope from a reconstruction to just include a path on Seminole and a path on Lacey.
Right. Maintenance of arterials, it's our street maintenance. County Highway M and Kane Road Safety Project, and this one has been removed. Capital improvement, the reason for the removal, we felt this traffic or the accidents there were mostly due to the Verona Road, traffic due to the Verona Road reconstruction. Is that a bypass? Rimrock Road resurfacing to Sky Lane, scheduled for 2025. County Highway D, Sparkle Stone to 450 feet south of Bryland. I don't know where this is. This is,
Chatry.
It's Chatry Road,
Chatry Road is D.
oh, okay. Where is Sparkle?
That's south of,
just south of Gordon Flesher.
yeah,
Oh, okay, all right. This is a 20,
south of Lacey here.
okay,
Sparkle Stone is.
all right. This is a 2025, 2029. Bus stop improvements, benches, ADA. Fitch-Rona Road, north of Wayland, south of Wayland, resurfacing and bike trails on there. Latitude 43 extension, the project will extend latitude 43 in the town of Madison, increase neighborhood connectivity, mobility. Irish Lane, the road is being considered for resurfacing. We've applied for a grant. Street resurfacing within QTC. What was the qualified sense? Isn't that the entire city, Bill?
No, there's only certain districts within the city of Fitchburg and the town of Madison that qualify. It's the old low and moderate income areas of the census tracts.
Well, that's my district, all right. Bike lane additions, Wayland Road from Fitch-Rona Road to Fish Hatchery. This, it would add a bike lane on there. Well, 12 and pump house. So we're installing well in South Stoner Prairie. What years are we planning this?
I believe that was in 23.
Okay.
Yep. For well 12, it's in 23.
Okay. Well, 13 in Pump House, location off Irish Road, depending on development. There is development going on, and skate upgrades, which are continually water tower repainting, water sewer equipment replacement. Is this vehicles? What on this one?
Yeah, it's the pickup trucks, some utility equipment such as a valve turner, and then it would be the sewer jetpack.
Okay. We have a CIP for oversizing water services. When we put them, when the development is putting them in, we will pay for the oversizing, potentially for future well maintenance, Irish Lane water main improvements, 2025, 2026. Tower Hill water main replacements. Tower Hill is probably, I don't know, if not the oldest neighborhood in the city, one of the close to. And our mains there are nearing end of life. And similar with Belmar, also one of the older neighborhoods. And water meter replacements throughout the city. So that is in a Reader's Digest version. Board can approve this, they can amend it, ask to remove anything. Yeah, I'm open to all of the above or none of the above, I guess. When will this come before council, Bill?
Just give me a minute, I'll check for the date.
And I do have some, as I'm kind of going through this a little bit, I did have some other project-specific type questions and how it may relate to some of the different things that Public Works is doing.
Well, Michael, the speaker is yours. Go ahead.
All right. I'm just going to kind of try not to shoot from the hip here, I should say. I am pulling up the list of projects. Thank you for bearing with me here. First one is kind of related to what we just talked about. It's project number 1042. In the CIP, it is page 60. So if I'm reading this correctly, this is the hybrid vehicle cost premium. We just got done talking about how we are looking at moving to an electric fleet for Public Works and how we, that's part of that. Would we expect to see, I guess, Bill, first of all, do you know if there's is this some sort of general slush fund so that when a vehicle comes up, we can take the look at what a gas-powered vehicle would be versus what the hybrid cost or electric cost would be? And then this is like a slush fund for all departments to pull from as they start moving the fleets over. I would expect that this would mostly be Public Works. I can't think of too other many departments, maybe parks that would have
Looks like
a
police.
lot of vehicles.
Police, when you're reading it, it looks like is one of the big considerations.
Right.
Yeah, the CIP is funded through any unexpended funds that we allocate for budget for gas vehicles. So say we have $100,000 in gas, we only use $75,000, 25 of that could go into this fund to fund electric vehicles. As you've seen with the gas prices this year, we are going to be operating at a deficit probably for this budget year. And we probably won't have any funds available for funding additional vehicles.
So this particular item says non-highway and non-utility, non-streets and non-utility, so I wouldn't think has much to do with Public Works at all.
Well, when we start talking transit vehicles for staff, does that fall into?
I don't think
does
that's,
that fall into that?
I don't know. It doesn't appear to me that that's in this item.
Okay. So, if this is a direction the city wants to go in, and this is a direction that the mayor and council wants to put funding to, assuming that that the funding source for this would be, savings from materials and supplies, gasoline savings, that's great. It looks like payments from others, a little nondescript for my liking. TID closure excess. I don't know what TID closure would have to do with operating costs and savings.
Yeah.
That seems a little odd to me. But again, that's more of a finance question than how could Public Works take advantage of that?
Brad, you still have I'm going to let you go through I'm going to let you go through all yours. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm going through page by page here. Stick with me. trying to kind of find them as they come up here. I have a list here. This was a question 1539, which is page 72. I just wanted to make sure on that one that that was the city assessor's office, not necessarily Public Works doing other assessment type things. It reads that way. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, that's
Thank
correct.
you. Okay, thank you. Sorry, give me one more second here. 6259. This is just maybe more of an overall general comment. When I start to see things like Southdale Park identification signs, which is in the 2023 budget, is this, Bill, are these wooden signs that would say Southdale Park, and then have the Fitchburg logo and all that other good stuff, or is this other identification signs like City Hall this way, something else that way, that we just put up all over the city?
No, those would be the first one that you indicated. They're the
Okay.
park signs.
This goes back to the priority of the city. I see very, very little reason why we actually have those in there. If people are generally trying to navigate to a park, they're either walking, they don't necessarily care what the name of the park is, outside of maybe some of our big landmark parks like McGaw and McKee Farms. These little neighborhood parks, I would say that we could easily save $5,000 on a sign that everybody already knows or doesn't necessarily care. I don't know that we've done surveys around, hey, do we want our parks to be signed? But we just put one up in Quarry Vista. It appeared out of nowhere, and while it's nice to know the name of the park, I could assume that it was the Quarry Vista Park, and I don't think the city needed to spend $5,000 to let neighbors know that their neighborhood park is called Quarry Vista Park. That's just, again, my general comment on that. People can agree to disagree with me on that. But then those things also, too, just kind of start looking quite tattered after a couple of years, and I know city staff has to go through and keep those up to date. So that could be an easy win if we're looking at, spending money on parks in a new and better way. And then I had one other just general comment. I think it was the Terra Vesa Park identification sign and project 6266. So again, just those general things. There's $10,000 right there that the city can spend on other things than a little sign. The other thing, I will just make a general comment, because I know this comes up every year, and I probably make this comment every year. We just had the discussion around trucks and vehicles and the whole want versus need thing. I get the fact that we have ongoing services, especially with the city of Madison, the town of Madison coming aboard. And we're going to have increased needs for transit that can only be satisfied with with a new truck or an additional fleet vehicle of some sort. I just make sure, and Bill, I know you're kind of doing your due diligence as you go through there, but it would be great to know, as we would maybe go through the next process, what fleet vehicles, we have, what ones do we absolutely need? And by absolutely need, meaning that this one is on its deathbed. And what can we do to get some of those costs deferred year over year? If we're in a 10-year depreciation cycle, go to a 12-year depreciation cycle. If the thing's already been depreciated, but it still runs like a well-oiled machine, that's great. Can we look at keeping it another year or two and maybe having a less of a trade-in value for a year or two to kind of save some of the costs that way? Again, I know you do your due diligence. This isn't anything there. It's just always finding ways, and this is always my time to ask that question, to just make sure that we're always sharpening our pencil. Trucks, I always love having the latest and greatest of things in Fitchburg, but that seems to be kind of one of those things where it goes into the budget, and we just kind of always are having that truck battle, and we're always seemingly getting more and more and more, and it seems like we've got some old tread on the tires, pun intended on that. That's it.
Thank you. I just want to make one comment, about the vehicles. There's some alders, and some, maybe even some city officials that want, an entire electric fleet. As long as I'm on the board, our plow trucks will continue to be powered either by diesel or by perhaps compressed natural gas, and same with our fire truck and our emergency fire equipment like that. I'm not I'm not going to make that leap. When we need equipment that will serve the purpose, and I'm not interested in being a plow truck being green. I'm interested in getting the streets plowed so people are safe, and we get an extended storm in the winter, there's no sun coming out, there's no recharging. So, I'm in favor of some, but, I won't ever favor an entire electric fleet. I think that's folly, so. All right, Kim, you have anything? Would you like to jump in?
No, I had looked through all of the public works items. My first thought when I looked through here was, I know it's going to be a little bit difficult to understand what our responsibilities are going to be with the town of Madison annexation. I've sort of felt like I didn't see a lot in here that was related to that. There were a couple items, as Dave pointed out through here, but I think it's, I think it's going to have to be an ongoing process, that as we take over some of the areas, we're going to have to figure out, what needs to be done in order so that it's cohesive with the whole city of Fitchburg, and it appears as, part of the city of Fitchburg as we go through this. So, that's a sort of a daunting task, but it's going to be an ongoing task as you go along. And the fact that you can have identified a couple things, I think, that we know we're going to need. And, it's sort of like when you take things over, you hope that they come in good shape, but sometimes I'm not as confident that that's going to be the case with the town of Madison's facilities that we're getting, because, they knew they were going out of existence for the last 20 years, basically. But even like in the last 10 years, I can see a lot of maintenance and things slipping that they could have done, would have done if they were still going to be in existence for a long time. And then all of a sudden now we get them and they're not in as good a shape as what we think. So is there any kind of contingency funds or anything that's built into this capital improvement plan, that if we come across things that are serious, I mean, what happens then? I guess that's part of it. Obviously, we'll be getting a little bit more budget money because of that, but I don't think they're going to be in proportion to each other.
Sure. There's a couple projects as far as streets go that we were aware of, like Bryant Road is a street that's in very poor condition. It needs to be reconstructed. We did not put that in the CIP at this time, but we're aware of that. We've done an evaluation of all the town streets and gotten their data as well, and we've increased our budget line for street resurfacing, crack filling, chip sealing, painting, sidewalk replacement, on a prorated basis on the amount of inventory that we're receiving. So we do have money set aside to do some of those projects as a prorated portion of our city inventory going forward.
Something like the city of Madison is going to continue to supply water. So we don't have to take care of that. Are they, is the sewer going to stay with the city of Madison also? So it's mostly streets.
Yeah.
Streets, parks, public safety, which is, I don't mean to say that's not much, it's
Yeah.
a lot more than what we're gonna get in tax revenue, but.
Well, I looked at the overall budget amounts based on the different departments, like Public Works Storm is like almost $10 million, which is over a 10-year period is only like $1 million a year, which I know we've had some significant flooding issues and drainage problems, and it seems like they keep coming more and more and more, and everybody says, you can get 200-year storms, in back-to-back years, and it seems like we've been getting some of those kinds of things. So I more looked at this as the big picture, as like I said, with the $10 million for storm, which, is a good investment in storm, but then you see, $53 million for streets. And I think that's one area that I thought might be a little light, is the storm budget in the capital improvement plan, because it just seems like a lot of those problems are, and then they're immediate, there's nothing you can do about it when you get those big storms other than emergency funds. But I mean, overall, when I looked through this, and like I said, I didn't go like Michael down to individual items and things like that. I looked more at like each of the categories under Public Works and what was the total expenditure over the 10 years and what were the bigger project expenditures. And I did not see anything in there that I thought, was totally ridiculous or that should have been taken out or didn't. But obviously this has gone through some kind of a process, because as Dave mentioned, there's a couple projects that were in here that have been taken out for various reasons already. So I thought it was well put together.
One other thing I did want to ask about was Project 3109, which is a new transit shuttle. I know that it doesn't have in here until 2024, but this is just one of those things that I pull my hair out about, because this doesn't seem like this is in Public Works' wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And I struggle with this one and the O'Call AV equipment. I've struggled with that one for years, and again, that one's further on down the road, so I'm fine with that. But, this is one, anytime it doesn't have to do with, quite honestly, fixing potholes or keeping lights on, I start to get cranky. So
Or keeping
do
water
we
out
know
people's
why
basements.
this is, right. Keep the water coming or going, either way.
Yeah.
But why is this one anywhere near Public Works?
It's because Public Works operates the transit system for Fitchburg as well. And the funding mechanism that we would use for this bus would be through transit, through federal funds. So we are administering the operation and maintenance of that vehicle. One of it's not only specific to the senior center, but it can be also used for a microtransit system possibly in the future. So it's part of the transit system that Public Works administers.
Thank you for that. Right, and this is always then one of those things of, and I know the conversation has come up a couple times over the years of how far down the rabbit hole do we want to go? Do we want to basically be getting vehicles and doing dispatch and all this other good stuff? And this one is just going to be one of those slippery slope things. I've kind of made similar comments at TTC meetings, but yeah, I don't like the fact that this, well, Bill, I understand your answer and I can appreciate it. With that said, having this fall under the jurisdiction of Public Works when we've got so many other things to worry about really starts to get me nervous at the general direction of where the city needs Public Works to go.
Kim, anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Alder Wheeler.
No, I have nothing to add.
So the question I would ask first, does anyone want to offer any amendments to this?
I do not.
Yeah, okay. Not hearing any, then we'll call the vote. All in favor of approving the 2023 through 2032 capital improvement plan signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
You had a request about the dates for approval. I put them up on the screen. I'm sharing it.
Oh, thank you, Bill. So council tonight, planning, commission of the whole
Planning Commission tomorrow night?
on Wednesday night. We'll be looking at it. Commission of the whole on Wednesday night. And
Or borrowing, though, it just looks like not the projects.
discuss borrowing, yeah. And then we get into the alders can make amendments, that are due by, after the 4th of July. And then near the end of July, then we have the meeting where we decide what's in or out in the CIP and adopt it. So, I know over the next, essentially a little over a month here, we'll be, a little more than a month from now, one shape or form, we'll have a adopted CIP. Thank you for bringing that up. So if you have people watching, if you have amendments that you would like authored, you get a hold of Alder Wheeler or myself. We'd be glad to author amendments or not. Man, I'm not sure. We might not agree with what you want, but we're pretty amenable. We know there are alders that will be making lots of amendments, but it's typically not Alder Wheeler and I. So with that, our next meeting is either it would be the 11th, or unless you need one on
The 11th or the 18th for public hearings for the water main assessments.
Okay. So you think the 18th would be our next meeting? Okay. All right. I'll let Dave know if any of you can't make it. Let me know. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move adjournment.
Moved by Wheeler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Lobdell. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned.